an app designed for health and longevity. Welcome back to Techstination. I'm Fred Fishkin. With us is Dr. Michael Roizen, Chief Wellness Officer Emeritus at the Cleveland Clinic, author of the Real Age Test and books, and now founder of the Great Age Reboot. Hi, Dr. Roizen.
Hello, Fred. Thank you for having me on.
A pleasure. Well, tell us about the Great Age Reboot.
Well, we're going to get to live a lot younger longer. So when we started Real Age, we predicted in 1998 that 60 would be the new 40. It actually has occurred if you look at the health professional study and the nurses' health study, 60 is the new 40. Now, because of exponential gains in aging mechanism research into the 14 areas of aging that have been delineated, we think there's at least an 80% chance that 90 will be the new 40. And in order to prepare for that, that obviously is a great disruptor and will create a huge boon if people adopt and plan for it correctly. So the real, if you will, the Reboot Your Age app is to help people plan for and get ready for this disruptor and to stay as healthy as possible so that they can be 40 when their calendar strikes 90. And so that's the great news, is that you're not going to just be living longer, but you're going to be living, if you do it right, a lot younger. And because of the, if you will, difficulty of separating this out for even physicians staying and other practitioners staying up to date in what is, where the science is, that's why we created this, and with the Scientific Advisory Board process to be able to curate longevity choices for people.
Well, that is great news, unless you're funding Social Security, I guess. But let me ask.
Well, in fact, the point is you're going to be able to get younger no matter, if you make it through this decade, through this 10-year period, you're going to be able to, with at least an 80% probability, to get younger. That's the amazing thing of where science is going. Just like the exponential gains in technology in general, if you will, since the chip came about, whatever it is, 60 years ago, the next disruptor, we believe, is this longevity. And as opposed to worrying about Medicare, trust funds, and Social Security going bankrupt, the trust funds will actually be, if we're working, if you're going to live 30 years longer, younger, you're going to work 20 years longer. You probably are already planning on that because you're enjoying what you're doing just like I do, which means Social Security and Medicare will have people paying into them much longer, which means they won't go bankrupt and we won't have to worry about that. And in fact, we're going to probably get a real boon as the population increases because of longevity.
Longevity is one thing, and there's an emphasis, it has been in some other countries already, that it's not about the number, it's about how healthy you are. And that's what you're focused on here, I think. So tell me, what are the big disruptors? What's going to bring about this radical change in how long we live and how healthy we are?
Well, there are 14, but almost every one of them is based on the Human Genome Project. So when the Human Genome Project started in 92 and 93, it was predicted we'd have 300,000 genes. That's how much DNA we had in our nuclei. But we only have 22,500. Both Ventnor's private group and the Collins NIH group found that we had about 22,500, of which 1,500 were on or producing proteins. Really what genes are is they either watch other genes or produce our protein factories. Which of those 1,500 are on or not are largely governed by switches. So they said, what's the rest of the DNA you have in your nucleus? It is epigenes. And what we've learned is you can reset those to the factory settings near when you were born, so that you can actually have more energy produced. You can have more vibrancy in your brain functioning. And the whole point of the aging mechanisms is, how do we get so that you can live younger longer? So there is gene editing. We've already seen each of these 14 areas start to be applied to humans. So last month, one of the companies got approval for gene editing for beta thalassemia. So people with sickle cell disease and thalassemia, instead of having if you will, 5 or 6 year life expectancy at age 35 or 40, they now have an 18 to 30-year life expectancy. And it isn't one going to the emergency room all the time for transfusions. It is one where they knocked out that gene. The same thing has been done with the gene for heart failure in people who have only, if you will, the amyloid gene for heart failure, which limits their life expectancy and their ejection fraction, the ability of the heart to put out blood from, if you will, 12% and having a life expectancy of under 10 months to now having a life expectancy for the people who've had this as an experiment to over 18 years and an ejection fraction of over 35%. So they're able to chase their grandkids where before they had to sit in a chair basically and do nothing. So we're seeing this in that area. We're seeing it in what we call senolytics, taking out old cells that make the neighboring cells old, like a piece of rotten fruit makes the fruit around it old. Well, in this case, senolytics get rid of that old cell and make the rest of the cells function younger. We've seen this with the AMBAR studies. You can Google AMBAR, AMBAR, where therapeutic plasma exchange has been used to decrease or to reverse, actually, the cognitive dysfunction in early Alzheimer's. So in a randomized controlled trial, they've used therapeutic plasma exchange. It's essentially a way of inexpensively doing young blood into old blood. Well, it turns out you produce young blood when you get rid of your old blood. And they did a therapeutic plasma exchange, donating a unit of blood essentially, getting your red cells washed and getting them back. So you're not actually using red cells, but washing out the plasma and the proteins in the plasma. Did that once a week for 5 weeks, then once a month for 4 weeks. And by 15 months, that's, if you will, whatever it is, 9 months past when the therapy ended, those people actually regained cognitive function in 12 of the 12 areas studied. So that's in AMBAR, and that's just one of the therapeutic plasma exchange. We're seeing it, and that's actually really inexpensive. People get paid for donating plasma now, so it can't be that expensive to do it as a routine. We're seeing small molecules being used, such as phosphocreatine, to build up muscle and to increase brain functioning in people who are elderly. So they don't fall, they don't lose their balance, they have the strength to get up and do things. So it is, as you said, it is not just length of life, it is quality of life as people getting rebooted. There is microbiome reprogramming where intense amount of research is going on. Even Coleco, a Google moonshot, has shown that using 3 of the 4 Yamanaka factors, turning them on, reboots the epigene, reboots the switches that control your genes back to a younger age, so that you're able to have the energy you had when you were 20 or 30 or 40, and not the energy of someone who's 80 or 90. So Coleco came out. It's the third, if you will, and Coleco is the third group that has shown by turning 3 of the 4 Yamanaka factors on, you get to reboot animals to a younger. So it's been done in 3 different animal species now, rebooting them to the energy and to the youth they had, the equivalent of 50 years ago in human terms. Another area, taking white fat Those of us who have too much white fat, that's the fat that hangs off our belly and makes us older because it causes inflammation. You can reboot that to pluripotent fat. That is fat that can turn into brown fat or white fat. Brown fat, if you will, gets us thinner. It's what we had when we were infants to keep us warm. It's around our clavicles and our key organs to keep them warm when our mothers couldn't swaddle us. So that turning the fat that causes inflammation into pluripotent fat and then transforming it into brown fat, which has more mitochondria and uses energy, means that the possibility, and it's been done in 3 animal species as well, of getting rid of obesity and the chronic diseases obesity causes. So Clemson, this was done in lambs, where you got the lambs, I didn't realize this, but sheep die of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease because they eat too much, and you lose their shearing, you lose their wool giving abilities if you're a farmer in this field. So you can reboot. So Clemson did the study of rebooting them, researchers at Clemson, rebooting their white fat into brown fat and getting rid of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. So, and they're, a group from Wake Forest, actually, I think it was Team Winston, has created a bionic liver that does all 3 functions of liver. It synthesizes proteins, it excretes, and it metabolizes drugs in an efficient way. So there's bionic. So anyway, I know I'm probably sounding too passionate, but there are 14 areas where they're showing exponential gains in longevity in animal models. And as I said, with the gene editing, these are all moving into human studies now.
So these are physical things that are done in a medical practice for people, or will be done, I assume. Tell me about what you're doing with the app and how this all ties in with all of those advancements that you're talking about.
So let me give you 2 specific examples on what the app does, or 3 actually. So one is we know that sometime in the future you're going to be able to reboot organ by organ, just like the Winston team has done livers. Well, or the team at Clemson has done, if you will, the non-white fat to brown fat transformation. But we don't think, and maybe sometime in the future, you'll come in at one end of the car wash and come out younger at the other end. But for the foreseeable future, it's done organ by organ. So you want to preserve your organs, each of them, as much as possible. So we've curated and taken the best of the other apps and combined them. So Brain HQ is a partner. They have both freeze frame and double decision that's integrated into our app that has shown to decrease, if you do 18 hours of practice over 10 years, essentially 2 hours a year, you prevent dementia, or you decrease your risk of dementia, irrespective of your genes, by about 30%. So that it isn't any brain game. It isn't crosswords or executive function games, or, if you will, decision type games. The games that show that you can decrease dementia are speed of processing games. So that's integrated into this app so that you can stay younger. Similarly, there are 4 physical activities that have been shown to change which gene, a gene that turns on. It turns on when you stress a muscle with these 4 activities. You turn on a gene in your muscle that produces a small protein called a Roizen. A Roizen gets across the blood-brain barrier and increases hippocampal size. Increasing hippocampal size means you're less likely to develop dementia or cognitive dysfunction as you get older. So we have integrated into the app a process for you to gradually adopt those physical activities, or those choices in food and nutrition and time of eating. So what the app does is it curates the current choices. For example, phosphocreatine is a supplement that actually helps you grow muscle and grow brain as you get older. Now, none of the people, we had 10 people on the scientific advisory board who are leaders in the field, and none of us knew that we should all be taking 4 grams of phosphocreatine a day to prevent muscle wasting as we get older. So we review about 50 supplements, and about 15 or 20 of them are worth talking to your practitioner about to see if you should be on them. So that's what the app does. It curates longevity choices so that you can make choices with your practitioner to stay as young as possible until these reboot processes are ready. And then we also keep you up to date on the progress in the reboot. So if you had beta thalassemia, we would say, this is the place that's doing the gene therapy for that, or this is where the status is. Or if you wanted to get rid of that amyloid protein, it would help the practitioner as well as you know where this research is being done, so that you can follow it.
So will people be able to get order supplements, for instance, through the app as well?
We don't have that. We suggest what to do, where to end the discussion. We don't have that process done yet. In other words, it isn't, the app isn't intended to be one that suggests something and then says order it through us. It's saying it's going to suggest something and tell you where you might go to order it. Now, if there's enough demand, we will have click-throughs on it, but it's our goal to be a curation site, not to produce our own line of supplements, if you will.
Terrific. So step us through, if you don't mind, the user experience here. When people take a look, they can go to your website at greatagereboot.com and tell us what they would be doing next. They would be downloading
Well,
an app, right?
the easy way is to go to the app store or to go to the website, and it'll ask for you and your practitioner's name if you want, or your email address, and it'll email you how to get the app, and then we actually have a golden glove system or a white glove system where we'll walk you through. We'll ask you to schedule an appointment where for 30 minutes we'll take you through how to download the app and how to use it. There's some interesting functions on it. There's a My Choices count where you can list the things you want to do as you accumulate them every day and check them off. There's a library which has all of the 180 choices that are now available to help you get young, and a recap written in common English, if you will, and a fun recap for each person to say, for example, which of the 4 choices in physical activity or what stress management should I use? And there may be 6 or 8 choices of stress management. You can pick one you want to use daily. There's a medication tracker so you can check off which medications or supplements you want. But there's a white glove process which goes through each of those areas for you so that there's no problem in you understanding how to use it. And if your physician wants to use it with you, we encourage that. And we have a process where we educate any of the practitioners or physicians or other practitioners in how to use it with patients. And they get their own, if you will, physician portal or practitioner portal where they can say, I don't want my patient jumping. I don't want any of my patients jumping, or I don't want this patient jumping, or I don't want this patient to see that. And it excludes, they get both to say what they don't want, and the physician can log on and see all their patients, their status on the app, and where they are in getting healthier. And so there is but the key is once you give your email, if you want to be logged on and have the if you will, the white glove onboarding process, you can schedule that time for doing that.
And people would be working very often through their own physicians if they wanted to be part of this?
We hope they will work through their physicians at least initially to get to make choices for them and to help them make choices and plan. And I don't mean make choices for them, but make choices with them to plan on what things. It has this library of what I said is reboot, reviews, and recaps. So the recaps are the short form, the reviews are the long form with click throughs on all the references. So if the practitioner wants to see why these choices are made or why the recommendations are made, they can click through on that, as well as can the individual. But we want to work through the practitioners as well as the individual in the individual, so that they can stay as young as possible until the reboot comes.
Tell me more about the subscription model that you have here, and the need for it, and the pricing, et cetera. Because to some people, it may sound expensive, and what am I going to get from this, et cetera.
So the subscription model, the program is a complete model that integrates other health apps. So if you have either an iOS or a Android phone, and you have a fitness program on it, like the Apple Fitness area or the Google Fitness app, it will integrate and show your steps. It'll show how you're doing in each thing and give you a My Choices count, if you want to do that day by day. I believe the subscription rate, the retail, I think is $49.95 a month for early subscribers. I think it's 35 or $34 a month. And the point of this is to help, so that you really need only one app. It's got the sleep app integrated. It's got the brain fitness app, and what we call the brain games, the brain processing by Brain HQ in it. It's got integrated with fitness as well as nutrition apps, so that you can make choices in all of these areas through one app and don't have to go to 17 different apps or 6 different apps. It has literally all the things that we know of, and it has a wide enough range, so it says, do you need to filter your water, and finds out the zip code you live in and work in, so that we know what quality of water and which filter is the best one for you. Or it goes through, so it goes the range that goes from, if you will, filtering your water to, if you will, what stress management program works best for you, and are you have you built a trusted team, your posse, and your passions. So it goes the full root of things, including what your LDL cholesterol or your apolipoprotein B, so, and your blood pressure, etc. It does all of the health things that work with your physician for routine preventive care, as work with your practitioner or physician for routine preventive care, as well as those things in supplements and in the environment that affect how long and well you live.
Would your hope be that insurance programs, especially those aimed at older adults, might participate in this and encourage people, or encourage participate financially with your clients?
When we have done the Cleveland Clinic is a self-insured group, and so we have 100 and whatever it is, around 15,000 employees and dependents now. We reduced our costs through our Healthy Choice program, which was the forerunner of this, and I was in charge of setting up the healthy or the prevention part of that. We reduced our spend compared to our competitors and compared to our own trend line by 38%. So we're saving over $190 million a year without a benefit change. So if insurance companies or others want to do this, there is a strong benefit for them. The employees, by the way, also get a large incentive back. So there's enough money in healthcare that the key in healthcare is if you stay healthy and don't need care, you save a huge amount of money. So the employees get a reduction in costs of around $1,500 a year when they achieve this as well. So the employees have been taking out well over $250 million in the last 10 years, and probably an equal or greater amount in copays, et cetera. So again, this has a strong benefit for insurance companies. We would hope they would do it, but um, there
There,
are.
there are some that offer fitness wearables and fitness plans for people, helping to pay for that, if not
Right. Well,
completely.
actually, Silver Sneakers is a great program, if you will. But as you probably know, only 11% of Medicare Advantage members actually sign up for Silver Sneakers, and only 30% of those actually go three or more times. So it's one of the most underutilized free programs for insurance. We hope people will. The program, we have made this as much fun as possible and as broad as possible, covering everything that we know of in health, that can help you stay younger for longer, into the app, and made it fun. So it only takes 3 to 10 minutes a day, depending on the day, to go through the videos and to learn about things, and you can do it as many times as you want. So we think it's fun. The goal is to have me in your pocket, to have me help you when you talk to your physician.
That sounds terrific. So tell me what your thoughts are. I mean, the news lately has been that we're not living longer. In fact, we're living shorter lives. Things are going in the wrong direction. A lot, I suppose that's mostly due to COVID. But on the other hand, I mean, people seem to be relying, many people, on taking a pill and not being proactive otherwise, going to the doctor and getting the pill and leaving it at that.
Yeah, as you know, it's much easier to prevent illness than to reverse it. So preventing obesity is much easier than reversing type 2 diabetes and reversing obesity. So the goal of this is to get ahead of it while you're still young enough and able to keep all your organs intact. So when the reboot comes, you're really able to get a huge boost in quality and length of life. And to be younger. Um, Let me go and just say one word about the life expectancy. The life expectancy figures released by the CDC, which showed a 2-year decline, is really what we call periodic life expectancy. It assumes that the causes of death in the last couple years will stay as the causes of death for every year in the future. So it assumes that COVID-19 will kill people at the same rates as it did in 2020 and 2021 going forward. Well, it isn't going to do that. And in fact, in the 1917 to 19 flu, life expectancy went down 12 years for both men and women, from 54 to 42 for women, from 46 to 34 for men. Went down 12 years, but bounced back by 1921. So the point is that the life expectancy decrease from COVID, we don't expect to continue. And you can do a lot of things to make 90 the new 40 and be able to live with much more energy, much more vigor, if you will. And whether you want to be able to chase your grandkids, or whether you want to be able to have a new career, um, this app will help you do that. That's the whole goal of Reboot Your Age, is to help you plan for and be able to take advantage of the if you will, the rebooting or the age mechanism, research that's going to extend our lives by 30 years and extend the period of time between 40 and 60 to between 40 and 90.
Is there a target age range for this app?
It's really from 39. I guess that's Jack Benny's age, 39 to whenever. Yes.
For those
So
of us who
I
can
don't
remember
expect
Jack Benny.
we don't expect it to be those in their teens using it, although it has material for them. And the great news is the earlier you start, the more benefit you'll get. It's like compounding on interest. And that's one of the things we also talk about, the financial aspects of this, because if you're going to live a lot longer, you want to compound your money a lot longer. And the earlier you start in that, the greater the benefit as well.
Terrific. Well, the website, once again, is greatagereboot.com. Congratulations on the innovation and on all of the work that you've been doing. Dr. Mike Roizen, thank you so much for spending time with us.
Fred, thank you very much. It's a privilege.